I have mixed feelings on AI, but I will say there are pros and cons. If you're going to use it to write your resume, make sure you proofread your resume because I've seen some very wonky things out there, things that just sound robotic. AI is not perfect, so you can't rely on AI to do everything for you. It's actually not what it's there for. It's there as just as a refining tool and to make things a little bit easier.
Welcome to Security Cleared Jobs, Who's Hiring and How, the podcast for cleared professionals looking for new opportunities and career advice. We go behind the scenes with recruiters and hiring managers from leading cleared employers to uncover the information you need to make a smart career move. Get ready for insights from this week's guest and your hosts, Kathleen Smith and Rachel Bozeman.
And hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Security Cleared Jobs, Who's Hiring and How. I'm Kathleen Smith with ClearedJobs.Net, and I'm joined in our studio by my wonderful, my fabulous, my stupendous co-host, Rachel. How are you doing today?
Oh, I was good, but now I'm fantastic. So thank you for that warm introduction, and thank you to all the listeners for being with us here today, because we have a fantastic guest that I know you cannot wait to hear from, and I can't wait to hear who it is. So Kathleen, make us stop waiting. Who is here?
Drum roll, please. In the studio today with us is Kara Waters, Talent Acquisition Manager at JT4. Welcome to the studio, Kara.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
We are so excited that you're here and so excited to learn a little bit more about you so that our listeners know about you and JT4. Do you mind sharing a little bit about your background and the role you play at JT4?
Yes, absolutely. So I've been with JT4, which it feels like centuries now. I've been with JT4 for 6 years, and really that's not that long. But before JT4, I worked a variety of recruiter roles at different companies, both technical recruiting and business recruiting, all different types of roles. I graduated from University of San Diego, where I got my bachelor's in international politics. And I kind of started this journey after that. I was able to study abroad, and I learned all about politics. And I said, you know what? I don't think politics is for me. My journey was growing my career organically. I decided to feel things out, go to different companies, get different experiences, really find where I fit in. That took a while. It took a few years. And I don't regret it at all because I ended up at JT4 and I'm so happy to be here. And my role, I should probably say, is Talent Acquisition Manager for JT4. So I've been doing that role for a little over 2 years. And I have a team of 4 recruiters and a marketing coordinator who's also fabulous. And we just love what we do. And we're very passionate about bringing bright, vibrant talent to JT4.
Kara, thanks so much for explaining to our audience about organic growth for career development, because I think that a lot of people think that it is a linear process.
Right.
And I know earlier in my career, I sort of adopted what I called the jungle gym approach. You still get to the top, but sometimes you go laterally, sometimes you go diagonally,
Right.
because you might find out something new. You might learn a new skill set. And, even with international politics, I'm sure you've learned how to be diplomatic and
For sure.
negotiate and communicate
Right.
and all of those
It's okay
things.
to take your time and figure it out. It's definitely okay. And I wish someone would have told me that when I went into college that, hey, it's okay. You don't need to let the anxiety and the pressure of the world get to you. But eventually, if you just take your time and you try out different employers and meet different people, you're going to find where you are comfortable and where you fit in.
Awesome. So explain to us a little bit, 2 things. First, what does JT4 do in the cleared community? And then maybe sort of fill in, what does JT4 stand for?
Yeah, absolutely. So JT4 stands for Joint Test, Tactics, Training, and Technology. We were formerly JT3. We had a 15-year contract with the U.S. Department of Defense. That includes the branches that we support are the U.S. Air Force, Navy, and Space Force. And then we got re-extended for another 15-year contract in 2018. So it seems that the Department of Defense is happy with what we've been doing, and we love what we do, and we love supporting them. We are, again, a defense contractor. We support the JTech 2 contract, and our mission is to prepare our warfighters to be safe in battle, to develop integrated test and training tactics for them. So they come out to the ranges, they practice their dogfighting, they practice using the radar systems, the satellite systems, and do a variety of missions that we help implement for them. And we hire anybody from an electrical engineer to cybersecurity analysts to former air traffic controllers who will come on and take on a role called mission ops controller, where they're helping oversee the airspace above, making sure it's clear and safe of commercial aircraft, of private aircraft that's not supposed to be up there, and just keeping everybody safe. So we do a variety of things.
All sorts of things, in fact. So I was doing a little sleuthing over here and took a look at your career page and saw that you have many different paths that you offer as far as what someone's flavor may be or their specialty or kind of where they're expanding into their career. And in looking in those different paths, it looks about maybe 75% of those or so are more technical in nature. So could you tell us a little bit about what those skill sets and kind of roles are that you're actively hiring for?
Absolutely. This is what we love to talk about as recruiters. So, electrical engineers and electronics technicians, those are always going to be on the top of the list. We're always looking for engineers who have an ABET accredited engineering degree. That's a special accreditation, and it's ABET, A, B as in boy, E, T as in Tom. So if you're out there wondering, you're an engineer, you're wondering if you're eligible for position at JT4, we do highly seek that ABET degree. There are instances where if you don't have the ABET degree, we can consider you for other opportunities, perhaps a higher level field engineer, things like that, but we are looking for a specific type of degree. You know, electronics technicians, people who are able to work on circuitry, they're very knowledgeable in AC/DC, they're able to troubleshoot down to the component level. We're looking for cybersecurity personnel. So cybersecurity is huge today. And people that have certain certifications such as CompTIA Security Plus, certified ethical hacker, people who you don't need to have a ton of experience coming into our entry level. I always say you don't need to have any experience for an entry level role. We will consider you if you're fresh out of college. Maybe you have your associate's degree in applied science. Maybe you only have some intern experience, but we will still consider you. And an entry level at JT4 is truly entry level. However, we are expecting you to pass a technical phone screen. And when you come to the on-site interview, we'll have some additional technical questions there as well.
Love it. And while I was out there perusing your career site, which is lovely, by the way, everyone should go check it out. But when looking on there, I did notice that you have a map that kind of shows the different locations in which your opportunities are listed. So I understand you are in sunny and hot and lovely Las Vegas, but where are those other positions located that you are currently hiring for?
Yes. So our corporate office is located in Las Vegas, Nevada. We also have locations in California at Edwards Air Force Base, China Lake Range, and Point Mugu Sea Range. We also have positions here in northern Las Vegas at Nellis Air Force Base, a little bit out at Point Bravo. We have positions in Colorado at the Space Test and Training Range, which is now called NSTTC. It used to be STTR. Now it's NSTTC. And we do have some other positions in Utah at Hill Air Force Base. So I'm probably missing one or two locations, but we're spread throughout those 4 states primarily.
And that's so great for everyone to hear because so many times people hear security clearance and they hear Washington, D.C. So one of the things we love highlighting with all of our guests here on the podcast is that there are positions that support the mission, support many different missions throughout the entire country. You don't have to just be here inside the Beltway.
Definitely.
So I understand that most of your cleared positions require a top secret, a TS or higher, but you also have the ability to clear folks that meet your hiring needs.
Yes.
And this is just sort of like, wow, cool, wonderful. So sort of explain to people what they need to have to be hired and then to be considered to be cleared.
Oh, I love that you asked this question, Kathleen, because this is so important for JT4. So usually when we do a phone interview, we go through some of these preliminary questions, but it's good to have this knowledge ahead of time about yourself just to be prepared. We're looking for people who, we deal with national security. So extensive foreign contacts. So foreign contact would be defined as a non-U.S. citizen, someone who does not have their U.S. citizenship, whether they're here on a work permit or visa. That doesn't matter. If they don't have their U.S. citizenship, we consider them a foreign contact. Now, if you have an extensive network of that going on, then we're going to dig in a little bit in our investigation when we do run the clearance. So it might cause some issues depending on how extensive that network is, okay? Then we also look for things like any criminal history. Obviously, felonies, those tend to be a problem. DUI with probation, we're looking at those. We're looking at any serious, prolonged debt, financial troubles, things like that, mental health, hospitalizations. We're digging in a little bit, and some of the questions are a little personal in nature, but they're all important questions for the clearance.
Because it's come up a lot. Marijuana may be legal in some states.
Right.
Its usage is still a federal violation, so please be aware of that.
Yes.
The other issue is you said about a lot of foreign contacts. And I think people need to understand that this means also all of the people that you are friends with on social media. So
Yes.
we're saying this not to say this is bad of you. We are trying to say that these are all the parameters that are examined when you go through the security clearance process.
Thank you so much for especially touching on the marijuana. That is a big one that we run into. And I understand it's legal in many states and it is available everywhere. And it's just one of those things. It's still federally illegal. So thank you for touching on that.
No worries, no worries. Rachel, we digress. What's up next for you?
Hey, if we're going to digress in the name of education, I say we digress. So I think that was a beautiful digression. And I just want to use the word digress one more time. So thank you for that. So wanted to talk about something different besides digression and really wanted to talk about your referral program there. So I know that you have a pretty interesting and a great referral program. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So at JT4, we value our referrals highly. And yes, I would say we have a thriving referral program. Basically, in a nutshell, if you refer an employee to JT4 and you are a current employee, you're going to get a monetary incentive. So you're going to get a bonus, basically. And there's different levels of bonuses that you can get based on the type of position that is being filled, the criticality of it, in other words. And whether the person has a clearance already, obviously that's a huge benefit for us because if they already have the clearance, we can get them started quicker. But if you don't have your clearance, I just want to say if you don't have your clearance right off the bat coming to JT4, no big deal. As long as you're eligible, we'll run that investigation for you. Takes anywhere from 8 to 12 months, but you are working during that time just at a different location at a corporate office, and you are getting paid your full salary. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone, and it benefits everybody.
Awesome. So referrals are also part of the company culture because, you have great people working for you and those great people want to go out into the community and share that and bring people in. So what should people understand about the company culture at JT4?
JT4 is a company you work for if you want to have a deep sense of purpose in what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. We deal, like I said, with national security. We're working on highly top secret classified missions a lot of the time. The line of work that we do is very serious, which does tend to really bond people together. We have a very closely knit work culture, especially out on the range. And as we'd mentioned before, as we were talking about our different locations, we have some people who work out on the range, different Air Force bases, and then we have a small number of people who work at our corporate office. But no matter where you're working at JT4, we all support the same mission, and that's to keep our warfighters safe and agile in battle. When you come to JT4, you're going to be, if you don't have your clearance, you're going to be waiting a little bit at our corporate office. You're going to be not as busy as you will be once you're doing your actual job duties out at the classified cleared site. But the supervisors will meet with you regularly. They will give you projects to work on. We have a lot of fun activities at our corporate office while you're waiting to get your clearance, such as barbecues. Every Thursday, we have something called a burger burn, where we even have vegetarian options. So we try to keep it lively. We have food trucks that come out. We try to do parties, for various holidays and luncheons. So we keep it interesting.
Interesting and fun, which is the perfect segue for something that I'm excited that I get to say for probably, Kathleen, I think this might be the first time ever I've said this word on a podcast, but a plie. Because I heard a story, Kara, that you may, during the course of a ballet class or two, been able to recruit someone. And I have to know, was it during a plie?
Oh, yes. You can recruit anywhere. That's what I tell people all the time. And that's what I
Yes.
love so much too about my job is I can go to the grocery store, have a conversation, tell them a little bit about JT4. Okay, maybe they get an interview. Anyway, I I am a dancer. I grew up trained a little bit in classical ballet. I shouldn't say a little bit, a lot. I did all of my exams through the Royal Academy of Dance curriculum. It's something that not everybody knows about me, but I do also teach ballet on the side. So I recruit by day, and then my afternoon job, I would say, is I teach ballet to all the way up to age 18. But I was at one point in a local dance kind of, you could say, a dance ensemble or a dance troupe. And I met someone there who was just so wonderful, very smart. I could just tell, just based off of being friends with her, that she would be a great fit for JT4. And I was able to fit her with a position that matched her interests. And she's still there today. So you can recruit anywhere as long as they're the right fit for your company. It works out.
I love it. Some teams have softball leagues. I feel like maybe there's like a dance troupe. Maybe you could do one of those flash mob dances. I feel like this is a good idea.
Well,
So
take it
please
because
take it.
I think Kara spoke with someone else on our team, Courtney, and I recruited Courtney in a yoga class. So
Oh,
you can
wow.
tell a lot by someone outside of the work environment.
Yes.
So I have a question on job search, and Rachel has a question on job search. So mine is pretty boring and basic. What is the job search advice you would provide for our listeners?
No matter where you are in your journey, the key is to stay determined and don't let the process of it get you down, because you end up having to apply to a lot of positions. I'm very aware of this process, just being a job seeker myself over the years. And as we all are, right? Applying for positions is a very stressful experience. As a recruiting manager, I am very empathetic and sensitive to that. I understand what candidates are going through. So at JT4, our recruiting team really tries our best to take care of the candidate experience, make sure things are as clear communication wise as possible and streamlined process wise as possible. It might sound cliche, but you have to kind of block out all the noise and keep your chin up when you're applying, because you can definitely get bogged down in the process if you let it.
Yeah, I like sort of sharing with folks that job search for the candidate is a very personal, emotional process.
Yes.
And unfortunately, or fortunately for recruiters, it still can be an empathetic process, but it is also a business process and something that they have to do.
Yes.
Search many different resumes, talk to many different people, and just for pure emotional self-preservation, they can't get deeply involved emotionally with each candidate. And I hear the angst, I see the angst on discussion forums.
Right.
And it's just understanding that little difference, that it really isn't personal. They're not going to give you the job just because you desperately want it. They want it to work for you and to work for the company.
Yes.
And sometimes a recruiter has to make that really hard decision and say those hard words that you are not going to fit for the position. And
Oh, yes.
it's horrible.
I have to say, Kathleen, I asked my team, what are some of the things you've struggled with? And, they always say, it's really hard to reject a candidate. It's really, really difficult to do that. That's their least favorite thing naturally. And
Mhm.
it's my least favorite thing as well.
But the one thing that I always advise additionally is if there is a good rapport between you and a candidate, and no matter how much the candidate doesn't meet your requirements, you still have a good
Oh, yeah.
conversation. My recommendation is keep in touch. Recruiters don't mind candidates keeping in touch with them, and that
Oh, yeah.
candidates, job seekers need to have 5 to 7 recruiters in their network that they really resonate with,
Yes.
because you never know. We've talked on another podcast about having a sponsor or having someone outside of your work environment who can advise you or can actually throw your hat into the ring. So there's probably a few people on the JT4 team that you resonate with. So keep in touch with them. You never know. Down the road, your skills might get better, your certifications might improve,
Mm-hmm.
their requirements might change. Always keep in touch. So that's the saving grace that I try to hand off to most candidates. Rachel, I know you have another really great question.
I do. And I would say, just remember your recruiters are kind and they're out there really looking out for your best interest.
Yes.
And they also have some great advice, like you mentioned, Kathleen, because I want to take it one step further from your job search question and ask you, Kara, a little bit about maybe your advice or some tips that you could give to the cleared professionals on using AI in their
Oh
job
boy.
search. Here it comes. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming, my friend.
AI. Well, I have to say AI is definitely a controversial topic. And, I have mixed feelings on AI, but I will say there are pros and cons. If you're going to use it to write your resume, make sure you proofread your resume after it writes it, because I've seen some very wonky things out there, things that just sound robotic. AI is not perfect, so it makes mistakes sometimes. It could actually put the wrong job title on there, or maybe mess up the dates. So, you can't rely on AI to do everything for you. It's actually not what it's there for. It's there as just as a refining tool and to make things a little bit easier. It's not there to do the entire job for you. So that's my best advice. And recruiters look at a million resumes, so we're able to sniff out. We're like hound dogs. We can sniff out the resumes that are AI generated versus the ones that the candidate's taken some time on them.
Yep. Yeah, I know that writing a resume is just probably got to be considered one of the most painful processes other than an IRS audit. And we're all doing ourselves a disservice if we're not willing to buckle down and write our resume. And
Yes.
I'm really glad that you highlighted that AI is a fine tuning, a refining of your resume. It is
Yes.
not to write all of the content.
Yes.
It does not know you intimately to know what you're good at, what your skills are, how you will excel.
Right.
So, word on the street is you've got some really good swag there at JT4 that you give away at
Oh,
some of
yes.
the events. Tell me if I saw you at an event, what would I be able to pick up?
Oh, yes. I love talking about our swag. So we have anything from our JT4 aviator bears. They're teddy bears. It's adorable. It has a little bomber jacket on. It actually zips up like an old fashioned aviator. It's very cute. We also have these really nice tumblers. We have aluminum water bottles that have bamboo lids. We have a variety of pens, erasable pens, fancy pens as we call them.
You mentioned pens, and I know you support Space Force. Way back in my childhood, the big thing was having the pen that could write in space. Do you have those pens?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. And actually, there's a place up in Boulder City. Oh, what's it called? They something space pens. But yes, I've been to the actual store. I've been to I wish we had them at JT4. Those are incredible, and they sell them in Boulder City here, just outside of Las Vegas.
Pretty cool. Yes. So now you've got everybody excited about the different careers, all of the different pieces, and you might have them pretty excited about the swag too. So if they wanted to get in touch with you about a career or a pretty cute aviator bear, how in the world can our listeners get a hold of you and your team?
They can contact us via phone, via email. They can go on our website. They can submit something on the contact page that will go straight to our careers email address. So we have a couple email addresses. The one that I would say is best for job seekers to use is careers@jt4llc.com. So that's careers@jt4llc.com. And then we have a variety of phone numbers. Each recruiter has their own phone number, both office line and cell phone. So I have 4 recruiters on the team. That's 8 different numbers you can reach different recruiters at. And then I have 2 numbers as well. But this is information I'm happy to provide.
It'll all be in the show notes, or they can take one of your ballet classes, right?
Absolutely.
Kara, thank you so much for your time today. This was delightful. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
So, Kara recruits for some very interesting specialized skill sets. But what I really loved is that she shared with our job seekers not to be leaning on AI as much. And that's a big conversation that's happening in the industry and has been happening for a few years. But She said it best. It's for refining your resume. Rachel, what advice did you like that Kara shared with us?
Yes, I loved probably the first bit of our conversation, which was about her career path. And just that reminder to all listeners, you don't have to have it figured out when you enter on your first day your freshman year in school or when you graduate high school. It's okay. It's going to take twists, it's going to take turns. It's about staying the course and really listening to where it is that you want to be. It'll be great. And you know what else will be great? You continuing to listen. So thank you for listening, friends. We truly do appreciate you. And we hope to share this episode with your friends and your colleagues so that they can benefit from hearing all of this great advice as well. Hit that follow button so you can catch next week's show too. Thanks again. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So I just missed one of my other potential spam calls. I've developed this script that I want to use if I ever get one of them on the phone. My grandfather did this all the time when he was actually one's calling right now. Okay, so I'm gonna answer this. Hold on.
Okay. Oh, is this real time? Oh, I'm excited. Okay, here we go.
Hello.